ögwe'ö, My English name is Angela Ferguson, and I am from the Onondaga Nation. I am Eel Clan, and I'm the supervisor of the Onondaga Nation farm, but I'm also part of an all-Indigenous corn growers group called Braiding the Sacred. And our mission is to braid back the 3 generations of knowledge holders, including at the very first, our elders who hold all our knowledge, and the growers of today, and the seed people who are preserving the seeds and caring for them, and bridging that gap between the youth, the young people who are going to carry it forward for the next 7 generations. So what I brought here today, I'll start with these 3 over here. These are the 3 things that we'd like to plant here. This first bean came from it's a black bean. It's Burnt House Village beans. And these beans came from the Sour Springs Longhouse when the old longhouse was being dismantled after they built their new longhouse. There were beans found hanging in the rafters of the attic of the longhouse, and nobody knew where they had come from. So one of the elders there, Cleve General Gahan, was asked, he was the oldest person living at that time, if he knew anything about them, and he said in his lifetime no one had ever put any seeds up there, so it happened prior to his life. And originally, Roger Cook, Mohawk Nation, was the first person to grow them, and he shared some of the seeds with people throughout the Confederacy, and we grew some at the Onondaga Nation farm, so I thought this would be befitting that they return to the village where they come from. A.C. Parker had also documented this bean when he did an inventory in the late 1800s of our seeds, so this is now made at home. And this is the Iroquois. They call it Iroquois. That's why it's labeled in museums and things like that, but we call it Haudenosaunee crookneck squash, which is the ancestor to the butternut. So this one has a small hook at the top of it, but the flesh of the squash is the same as the butternut. And what's interesting about that squash is that you can keep that all winter long, so even into the springtime, like even if you had it now from last fall, it would still be keeping and still be able to be eaten. So this Seneca long ear white corn, I really won't have much information about until it's grown here, because I've never seen what the plant itself looks like. This is one of the seeds that has come from the collection of the Carl Barnes collection. So all of these clear jars with the silver tops that have white labels on them are part of a seed collection that came from a Cherokee corn farmer from Oklahoma. His name was Carl Barnes, and he spent his entire life preserving seeds, growing them out, communicating with them, and caring for them. And upon his passing, his seed collection was gifted to his apprentice. His name was Al Toops, and Al Toops is, he's a corn farmer. He's Northern Cheyenne, and he lives also in Oklahoma. And Al Toops and I became friends, along with others in the Braiding the Sacred, and he gifted us Carl's corn collection. So we have been caring for the seeds, doing seed rematriation work, where we return the seeds to the communities where they come from, and getting them out of these jars and into the ground, and getting them back to the people eating them. So all of these varieties on the table right now are the Seneca varieties that were in the collection. This one here in particular is very interesting. This is the Seneca Bear Dance corn, so it almost looks like blackberries. It's a black, would be, when we say black, we mean purple in our food realm. And so I can't wait to see how that's going to do here. And there's also a few varieties of other flints, like this Seneca Calico flint. And there's a short ear flint, Hecoa. there's many different varieties that we won't be sure what they look like until community members here grow them and perhaps show us and share seeds with us when they get a harvest from that. And this one, this Seneca round nose, this is going to be interesting because round nose corn is considered being a medicine. So round nose corn means that the corn grows all the way around the top of the cob. And usually in the center of that, if you look at it from the top, it looks like a flower. And there's one seed in the center. And that one particular seed has a lot of medicinal purposes. It's meant to help people who are grieving. It's meant to help people who are suffering from depression or suicidal thoughts. It's the medicine to help their minds. So I think this will be a good corn to come to help us. And some of the varieties, like even this blue and white one here, it's a blue and white ögwe'ö, which is our version of flint corns. And there's only a few people that I know that are actually growing this variety. One of them is in Onondaga. Chief Spencer Lyons, he grows this out, and it's specifically blue and white. This other seed right here is called, when they have a rose tint, there's a Tuscarora version, there's a, in general, Haudenosaunee version, but what it is that when it's on the cob, the kernels themselves, and I'll bring one up close so you can see, they look like roses, or they have a rose tint on them. So they actually look like flowers at the end of the kernels. And I'll bring this close so you can see how they're white on the bottom, and then there's a red covering on the top. So it's interesting to see that there's a Seneca variety of that. Sometimes it's labeled as the old Iroquois rose or old Haudenosaunee rose, but it looks like flowers. So that will be very beautiful to see. And then these seeds over here came from another institution. These seeds were being held at the Seed Savers Exchange in Iowa, and there were 3 women from the Indigenous Seed Keepers Network who went to rescue these seeds. The Seed Savers Exchange returned all Indigenous seeds. They released them from their collection, and some of these things we don't have seeds for, so I'm very thankful that they've made it out of there. The varieties that I brought here that were Seneca, that were labeled as that in their collection, are this Seneca red stalker corn, red stalk corn. So that must mean the stalk, when you grow it, is actually probably red or purple. There's also some beans. They were just listed as beans that were found in a cave. We do know that our people did return to caves at certain points in time. They did bring seeds with them at that time. And there's a variety of bean, but it doesn't have a name. And this is also, this one came from a woman's collection. Her name was Cora Baker. So I don't know how they became in possession of this. Sometimes there's no story about how they received our seeds. Sometimes it was not voluntary. And so I'm glad that they've been set free. There's also a Seneca red bean here too. This is very beautiful. So beans were a huge part of our diets that we've kind of gotten away from as a form of protein. We didn't just have animal protein. We used a lot of beans and plants as our other forms of protein. And then this one I've seen labeled at several places as a grandmother earth bean, or mother earth bean, sorry, or sometimes grandmother beans. And this one, it just says yellow squaw, parentheses, woman's bean, Iroquois 1920. So these beans, someone grew them in 1920. It's pretty powerful to think that you're holding somebody else's harvest from that year in 2025. So I can't wait to see how those do. And then this is more of that same bean. And in this jar, there's 800-year-old corn. It is listed, and when I looked at it, I wanted to know, what is it? And it's very interesting because this is a really old what are the Shawnee varieties?